Drink?
Oh, we're fine, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
No, but Channel 13 might help you, and Opera News.
Opera news, interesting.
They will know. Call Jerry Fitzgerald, Max Jacobson. So we'll give you those numbers
Mhm.
on my behalf. So we've done this interview with Franco,
Great.
and whom should you contact at Channel 13? Because I don't see. Otherwise, they will do, well, you might use little bits, but the full
There's a number of cable systems interested in.
Oh, they are.
Mhm.
Wait a second. Action G.
When you made that remark about never wanting to make an art film, were you perhaps taking a pot shot at the critics who acclaim filmmakers as great artists, filmmakers whose films the public never goes to see?
Well, there has been a lot of perverse attitude in the past 30 years. It stems out of an assumption that art is never understood. Real art is never understood by the contemporary people, which was true sometimes in the past. I mean, if you think of painters like Modigliani or Stravinsky as a composer, I mean, the people were not understood. So slowly they have developed this idea that the more obscure work is and the greatest could be. And some people who have talent, who have had talent, and made a big fortune dwelling with this, like Bergman, for instance. Bergman, honestly, is a wonderful director. Is not a miracle, not the best director ever lived. Come on, honestly. But because it was obscure, because his films were dealing with very daring personal subjects and all of that, he became a cult in the critics, and like him, many others. A lot to do has to be with a political position too. The more left-wing you are, and more suitable you are to be hailed by the critics, which are always following this false assumption that only left there is culture and do not. And what is left after all? And if you ask them what is left, they end up by being very confused, because if you think that Picasso was considered left and he shook hands with Stalin and he got the award, Stalin Award, Stalin was, as we all know now, one of the most horrible reactionary fascist men ever lived. I mean, there has been some confusion there, what is left and right, what is the radical press ideal conception of art.
Do you think that that has affected the critics' approach to
my work,
modern,
yes.
to your work?
To my work constantly, because I never could accept this monstrosity that the culture in the world, our world, the democratic world, should be led by people who were inspired by the Kremlin. First by Stalin policy towards culture, and later by those people. We know what they are up to. They are up to disrupt the very essence of our civilization in order to conquer us from within, as perhaps they don't hope anymore to conquer us with their weapons, with the weapon superiority. They try to disrupt our structures from within. They did try. Now we are all opening our eyes and ears. You know, in Italy, for instance, we went through this tragic period of the Red Brigades, and we found out that the Red Brigades and all the terrorism was financed and masterminded by the Eastern Europe secret services, in order to disrupt this very important nation in Europe, which is a bridge between Europe and the third world, Italy. And they almost managed to get to it. Finally, for some reason, the Americans woke up and they told us to get rid of the terrorists, and we did. But you know, American policy has been very, very strange, very complex. I don't want to go into the field,
no.
for God's sake, but I want to say this, to mention this little, because it has affected the world of culture too. And then, you know, the definition of talent. This talent is red, so must be good. This talent is not red, so it's no talent. This has been a very, very consistent discrimination in the world of culture.
And your work, you say, has been seen by the critics as conservative and right-wing?
very reactionary more than right-wing. You know, just I wanted to bring back beauty. I wanted to avoid any Marxist message. I've been very thorough in that since my beginnings. I've seen the communists at work when I was almost a child. I was with them in the mountains. I know what they are. I never drank that milk. I'm sorry. Even if I have to change career, do something else, go employ the fields, I'm not going to accept the rules of the game dictated by the Kremlin.
Interestingly enough, the idea of bringing opera, which is perhaps the most exclusive of the art forms, to the masses is probably something that the left-wing critics would approve of.
But ironic, those are the most reactionary people. Those are the ones who say that not everything is for everybody. So they encourage the elite. It's really a monstrosity. And they have this constant slap across their face, because when my films are shown in Russia, sometimes are shown, I'm hailed as the greatest director in Europe. Rome&Juliet is far the most successful film ever in Russia. The Champ.
Yes.
I can't tell you what The Champ is, and they consider it a great socialist film because it tells about good sentiments, about the monstrosity of a marriage split by the ambition of a bitch of a woman who wanted to become rich, and the poor who are the worker, and he has to die on the ring in order to give something to his son. I mean, all the ideals of the socialist world. Ironically, I am a hero in Russia, and I don't miss any opportunity to let them understand that I don't agree with them. Nevertheless, my works are really, they arrive to the point of considering my first Christian film, religious film, Brother, Sun, Sister, Moon, a greatest masterpiece than any Marxist film. Because, apart from the fact that it was a religious film, a Christian film, but it sung the beauty of a hero. Zefferelli can tell us about a hero, about a pure hero who believes in something. And you people, I mean, they came to Rome, a group of them, Russians, a guest of the left-wing society association of authors, and they showed to them all their works, all this garbage, this awful stories, and the Russians were absolutely shocked. Then one of them said, we hear that there is a film of Zefferelli we haven't seen in Russia, we want to see, but Zefferelli's reaction is anti-communist. It doesn't matter. I mean, he did Rome&Juliet. Finally, they organized a projection, and they cheered, standing ovation. And when they had the final meeting with all the, to be nameless, Bertolucci's and company, all the communists were there, and the relation was, the president of the group said, we have only seen one great film. It happens to be on a material that we don't approve of, it's a Christian propaganda, but it's a great film, the only one worth a movie, not the stuff to them. So, where is left and where is right? We don't know. Really, we don't know. What I really hate is conformism. Man should be free, and it's very unpleasant, and a nation that has been so wonderful in defending the freedom of expressing should be now so much devoted to conformism. See what I mean? One says one thing, so everybody must think the same way. It's awful.
Conformity.
The marvelous years where every American was a continent on his own, they're gone.